It is a scam when you don't allow everyone to operate on fair terms.
We are the Robin Hoods of sports betting. We take something back from the rich bookies and enable our customers to beat them instead.
So this was, what can I say, my betting after the previous documentary.
Yeah.
Like, I started out like just, you see at the beginning, just betting very small, just seeing how things were playing out, was I doing things right or wrong? And then I started bumping up the stakes. And this is my soccer betting. So the soccer betting has kind of been my bread and butter and why I kind of decided to stick with the soccer.
Yeah.
In terms of bets, there's no way it's 56,800. It's probably going to be maybe 6,000, 7,000 or something like that. But whenever you place a trade on the exchange, it's just like goes out to endless trades. So for that reason, it's not an accurate thing. However, what's accurate is the turnover and the profit. And then I calculate this based on the Pinnacle closing lines.
Yeah. So you run above EV2 then?
Yeah, so the no vig Pinnacle closing lines.
Do you think that could have something to do with stake sizing or run good, or the edge just actually like the closing line itself?
It's hard to say, like, how accurate is the closing line? Like, I think the closing line is somewhat accurate, but you never know, like, are some people trying to keep their lines at a certain place also to benefit from the lines when it goes in play? I guess it depends on liquidity and what kind of leagues you're looking at. They also probably know who's actually betting in this market.
Yeah.
And of course, if they know that the market is going to move to an accurate point, they're going to just take up whatever EV. I'm not at that level, so it's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
It's not like I can
Tony Bloom level.
I guess those the big guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So if I knew what kind of positions they had and everything, of course, it's a lot easier to say, yeah, that's the reason. But my assumption is like, I think I probably run a bit over EV, but it's hard to say over such a sample, like if I'm just consistently running over EV or if the closing lines might not be as accurate, but I might get in the correct positions also.
Yeah.
So it's just assumptions.
But closing line still is the best measurement we have to evaluate EV.
I don't think there's any other way you could actually come up with anything that's better than closing EV.
Yeah.
So for now, closing EV would be the only way you can look at it. And even with like 7,000 trades, or as we looked at the variance calculator, like you just got to go from somewhere, right? And if anyone has any better suggestions, maybe for all I know, maybe ISN is more accurate, maybe SBO is more accurate, maybe IBC, maybe Betfair Exchange, maybe Matchbook Exchange. Like it's you can also generate things from those and see whoever is more accurate.
Yeah.
But you're gonna need like a sample size which is probably 100,000 bets or something in order to draw any accuracy. And it's I think just like using Pinnacle, who tends to be having the highest limits, is going to be the most accurate you can get.
Yeah.
But I haven't done too much work around that.
Can you explain what you're trying to do in those first 40% of that graph? Like what you're trying to figure out?
Well, what I just wanted to see was that are the bets closing good? And I also tried to have somebody else doing some trading for me again, because I didn't want to commit like 40 hours a weekend doing all this myself. So I wanted to see like, is this possible to have it outsourced? So it was more like a test with that. And I guess this is bets over 2 seasons in soccer.
Yeah.
So yeah. And eventually I just said, all right, let's go.
Yeah, so can you talk about a bit that about the process from going from testing it out to saying go? You said that you started having a bit like larger stakes.
Yeah, so I started out I just put in 50k and then I lost a bit. Then I put in 50k more, lost a bit, then I put in 50k more, and then it started showing return.
Okay.
And as you can see here, like things were looking good, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're down again. So it needed another reload. So I put in 100k this time, and then it just kind of sailed its own way.
Yeah.
Can you take us through a bit of your staking strategy you went with?
usually I just had like risking up to 10K and lower in some other leagues, like higher in some leagues, lower in some leagues, depending on like the results and the EV closings. And
pounds?
dollars.
Dollars, okay.
Or yeah, dollars. And yeah, like just see where it takes me in a way. So I don't know how interesting all of this is to people, but like I think everyone also wants to see like, oh, does he still got it? Is he still making money?
That's the big question, right?
And to all the haters out there, like sometimes I win money, sometimes I lose money.
Yeah.
Were there this period of like 2 years compared to that 1 year? Were these bigger bets, would you say, than you were making back then?
No, I was placing towards the end there. I was staking much higher than what I should have. Yeah. But it's easy to get blind. Like
when you're just doing so extremely well.
When you're having like your best month, September, topping it October, topping it in November, topping it in December, and then even better in January. Yeah. Despite like having the biggest losing days and everything, you're just like, all right, you know what? This is just a print. Yeah. But having run more simulations and understanding like, oh Jesus, I was lucky not to avoid like this massive downswings and getting unlucky. Because there was no way, like for some of these bets, I was betting close to like between $30,000 and $70,000. And yeah, I mean,
don't need to lose too many of those.
No, exactly. But I was also ready to say like, look, if I lose a couple of those, I'm just going to drop it. But for now, I'm just going to let it run. Yeah. But yeah, like don't advise anyone doing that unless they have like a urge to make $1 million very fast. Yeah. Which I mean, I didn't care about like if I made $1 million, I just wanted to see like how much I can make from this and how long it was going, because I wasn't sure like, can I keep on doing this for years? And yeah, I mean, there's still ways to make money. You always need to look into the markets, how are the markets adjusting, what's happening. It's always new players coming in. How are they like overrated, underrated, and understand like all of this. So, I mean, it's just a constant grind, and you need to like when you're placing bets not based out of just the movements itself. It's really hard to figure out if you have an edge and what's working and what not. Yeah. So for example, something I've been doing is using different staking strategies where I'm just like testing out hypotheses. Because if you have a big database, it's easy to say like, okay, what if I did this? How many bets can I get on? The database might come back and say like, oh, for that you would have been able to place 5,000 bets. Yeah. And with 5,000 bets, you then ask yourself, would I have actually been able to get on those bets? And most of those bets you wouldn't have been able to get because maybe there's some delay, maybe somebody's slow on updating their prices and all of these things. So it's just a lot of this is you just have to see it like and do it in person in order to actually understand what you could get on. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, I'm just showing football graph because that's the only graph that's really displaying enough volume. Like I said earlier, the NFL seasons are extremely short, and soccer has been like the bread and butter. Like if you combine tennis, basketball, ice hockey, and NFL, I think I'm probably down like 200K or something. Yeah. And